ahead.
You gotta start with him.
Where did you get that from? Look, he's gonna
Need your camera.
Huh?
Go
You
ahead.
have to start with him.
Oh, really?
You
Okay.
gotta start with him.
Oh, we're filming. So y'all have to talk again. All right, if you're listening, snap your fingers. If you're listening, come on, put them up. If you're listening, snap your fingers. Now that we have everybody's attention, I want to welcome you, and here we go.
Welcome
There it is.
to the Magnanimous Humanitarian Mixer.
Yeah.
Everyone in this room is invested in our community and the people who reside in it. And I just want to thank you for coming out tonight. I am Deidre Carter. My better half, Mark Carter.
Mark.
So tonight is about, we had our first meeting last month, and we kind of found out everybody who was doing something in the community. Whether you were feeding, whether you were doing bags, whether you were doing counseling, just anything you were doing to take care of that population, including kin. And you can explain what kin is later. So tonight is a little bit different in that we have some new faces, and I also want you to have the opportunity to speak and share what you do, and where you do it, and how you do it, and when you do it, and what area of town you do it in, because that's going to go on a master listing. Secondly, I thought you were getting my attention. Secondly, we're going to have a couple people stand up and speak about some things that are going on new. So I'm going to transition right now, and I'm going to ask Maria to come up, and I'm going to ask her.
Maria.
So all of you know Maria, and I've been following Maria for about 12 years in admiration of the things that she does in this community. And I'm a huge fan of yours. I am not here to reinvent what Maria does. I'm here to support what she does. And I don't believe in duplication of services. I believe if you're doing it well, I'm not going to take that away from you, and I'm going to support you to the end. And each one of us have a unique gift. And I want to ensure that everybody gets supported in that gift. And we don't duplicate services, as I said. I just can't stand that. So you'll hear me say that 1,000 times. So I've been in communication with Maria for some time now, and I'm thinking about the end goal here. How do we take care of our people? How do we get them housing? How do we get them services? And be good at what we do. I don't want to throw, you give a man a fish, he should become a fisherman of men. Now, that's not true. You don't give it to him, you teach him how to fish. And that way he doesn't come back. And if he does come back, he's going to come to pull someone else along. And that's the whole story. Reach one, teach one. And so, with that said, Maria has the Navigation Center. And she shared with me the idea of the Navigation Center. And I wanted to know why the Navigation Center isn't open. And so, thinking about that tonight, I want to have that discussion. What can we do to get this Navigation Center open? And are you guys interested in helping support her in that?
All right. Well, thank you so much. Just want to recognize that Deidre founded this mixer, and her church, what's the church called?
Faith Fellowship.
Faith Fellowship has hosted a lot of the events for our kids in need. And kids in need are kids who are homeless. And I don't know if you know, there are over 300 homeless children in Vallejo. Whether or not you see them, they are there. And I know we're all going to introduce ourselves, but I want to just give props to our school representative, Victoria, and our navigators here, and everyone here who serves our friends and our kids, because they really are overlooked. A lot of the times people want to see the homeless in order to feel it. They're really there. And last year, our 9-year-old girl died. And we always want that to be remembered. And her name is Aaliyah. And she died living in a car with her father. That's a big deal for us. It's not just a statistic. It's reality in this town. And like I said, I know Deidre's going to have everyone speak about their projects. But the Navigation Center is something that our city is conveniently, and we're not people that want to create waves, but this is the reality. In 2014, we had participatory budgeting that we all voted $588,000 to help our friends. unfortunately, the nonprofit that they chose wasn't up to par to completing the task. We were really trying to get on top of it. Like, he was from Oakland, and we were the ones who chose him first because we had to identify who was doing what in the Bay Area. So BOSS in Oakland has a 24-hour navigation center. San Francisco has 5 to 7 24-hour navigation centers. And so when that format was looked at, we said we can duplicate that here. The city approved. They chose BOSS. BOSS didn't go through it. We identified property for them. Even E40 was one of the people that we contacted. Victoria had his number, of course, they're down with each other. And we called him, and he was like, we're going to call it the Earl Stevens Memorial Building, the whole 9 yards. And unfortunately, the nonprofit didn't go through. So where did the money go? The money went back to the city's coffers. And they said, whether or not you find it, the city's going to have that money anyways if you find a new location. So we found a location on Sacramento Street, 2188. And it's right next to the Christian Health Center. Now, there's only one homeless shelter in this whole town. One for 500 adults and 300 children, housing 80 men and 80 women. It's never going to be enough. And for the most part, if you have some money, you can stay there for every month for $300 a month or something like that. Now that excludes our friends that don't have any money. So if it's you and me, you got $300, I have $0 as a homeless person, you're going to be chosen and I'm not. So where do I go? There absolutely is nowhere to go in this town. That's the true reality of it. So people come to us, Maura knows, she's our resource navigator, and Sharon, and they say, where can we go? And we say, the Christian Health Center is closed, let's try Mission Solano. If you guys read your paper, Mission Solano was trying to close 2 months ago. So where do you think our friends are going to go? So it's important to remember what the original plan was, which is we have the money, and now we have this location. We identified Sacramento Street. There were 2 properties, and it was being sold separately. And we asked the owners, can you combine it and give us a lower price? They said, Vallejo together, if you're really going to purchase it, get the city to purchase it with the money, we will lower the price for you. So we went and had a memorandum of understanding. They lowered the price. We walked with the director of housing through the Sacramento Street, and she said, where do you want your beds? Because the prison industry is donating 100 bunk beds to us right now. And they're waiting for us, where is it going to be delivered? This has been since last year. And we said, this is where we want our beds. This is where the showers, this is where our mothers and children can park. And then afterwards, they bought it, and we're like, okay, all right, you got it. When can we move in? Crickets. Nothing. And all of a sudden they have amnesia and they don't even know, we didn't talk about that or whatever it is. And here we are, we're not people that want war. We're people of peace, so we're trying to communicate with them. And it's been very terrible. It's been an uphill battle. It's a lot of things that it's just being passed over. The Sacramento Street is still empty.
Maria, who's them?
The city of Vallejo.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's still empty, Sacramento Street, and they're actually having the owners still use it as like part-time office and storage for their cars while people are on the street, and that's a big pain for us. So I guess what we're asking is that if you ever have time, if you want to join with us, we really want to come together and really have a voice. They're tired of hearing from me as a person, and I'm okay with that because I'm tired of seeing them too, right? I mean, we're all tired. We just want it to be reality, and I think as different people, we have Woman of the Year this year, Sharon McGriff Payne. I mean, we need to leverage who we are as citizens and ask for help. We don't want another child to die on the street. We don't want no senior citizen to die. We opened a men's home in honor of 2 men who died in Vallejo streets. There are people dying. We have a woman who died. She was, 30-something, and she died. Her name's Johanna. We opened a women's home in her. So we're not in the business of naming post-mortem here. We want people to live and thrive, and we want them to have the opportunity to come up and be somewhere. We have here Orlando, and he is a big part of our community now. Raise your hand.
Hi, Orlando.
And he's open to the sharing of his life. So he's a father of 4 of the children, 5 children we serve. Kids in need. He's struggling too. Where does he go in these times, you know? So we need to all come together and just have a voice and say, what about Sacramento City? And I know Hakeem is running for office, and we try not to get into the way of people's platforms, but we really would appreciate you really having to come long-term voice for us, because there's just it's just a clean statement for us to just want to help everyone, and we found the ways to do it. We had a participatory, we had the votes, we have the money, we identify the property, we asked it to be lower. Why are you leaving us behind? So that's my statement, and I'm sticking with it. Thank you.
So, can we ask a question now?
Oh yes, ask a question. That's just me. I know everyone takes turns to talk,
So, how can we effectively, as a group or as a collaborative effort, how can we support you? Or support this, not you, but support this effort to make sure it happens so that they hear our voice?
So what we learned throughout the years is it's a lot of politics in this city. What it is that people want to, when they hear from more than just us, and let's say you have your favorite candidate or somebody already elected, we need you to contact them and say, hey, I really want to know about Sacramento Street. I really need to know what we can do with that. Our church, our group, I support that. I need your voice on the council, because they can overturn what staff is referring. The way it works is city council can overturn anything that staff wants to present. But staff right now is firm, and I heard this firsthand from the director of housing, that they just want it to be a place for 50 people, right? It's a huge spot, 50 people for permanent housing. That means and they said whether or not people live there, the city still gets funding for it. So we need to be one accord. We can create a little petition or whatever, but the best way to do it is we're going to do an article in the paper, have all of us have different voices, writing letters to the editor. Maybe you can have more come up here later and talk about writing letters to the editor, and be one with the information. Because now you know all different avenues of it, and we can come together. But church power is a really big power. I know you come from a big church. We need the pastors from churches to speak for us. I mean, this is everyone's mission in the church, serving God's people. So, I mean, I don't think it should be hard to ask them to write a letter and to advocate for us with those in power.
So I am for what's called the North Bay Ministers Union. I'm the person that deals with civic entities. So I'm the right guy. I just need to know, we need a letter that we can disseminate through not just the Baptists, Methodists, every Presbyterian, everybody, that we can, as a communal community, use our power. I also work at Jesse Bethel High School, and our kids, this would be a great project for them and a great way to them to support this if we got this circulated, whether they're 18 and up or not. You know what I mean? Because it also speaks to some children will be there as well.
Absolutely.
So if there's any kind of letter or petition.
We'll email it to you, all the details, and if you want to meet one-on-one with a smaller group to start this journey.
I do.
Time is of the essence. They are trying to do this fast without any community support. We've gone to city council and said publicly, we need to be part of the process since we've implemented it with you. And then they said, yeah, you'll be part of it. And then when we call, it's like, no, we've made up our mind. Laura's tried to call, they don't even call her back. Different people in the community try to make a difference and call, and they're just ignoring us until they get to that moment where the vote happens, and it's too late, like we've never had a voice.
Is there going to be a meeting with the mayor?
There's going to be a meeting on next Friday, I think. I think we should all show up there and be firm about this Sacramento Street property. This meeting was supposed to be with us and Vallejo together and the mayor, and then they canceled it and made it this other meeting. They didn't, so there's a lot of things going on in the back that they're probably trying to go away from this idea and trying to say, no, you need this idea. So firmly, we just need to come together and have one voice that we need. So we'll send you that info too.
Outside of the information, or maybe it is in the information, what was the original plan? What were the details of that plan? And I'm talking about sustaining that housing. Because I mean, it's one thing saying you have a building, you have this plan, or it's going to house individuals, but what is going to be the plan to actually keep it a safe environment for our friends in need and keep it sustainable? Was that what was presented to the particular, was that part of the budgeting process of the whole plan, and now they're reneging on that plan?
So the original request for proposal for a 24-hour navigation center had all of those elements, and the sustainability factor would be applying for funding within the first year. when the original nonprofit didn't go through with it, they brought that money back and purchased this property with the idea, with no 24-hour navigation center, but with the idea of putting our day center. I know you all know we have a day homeless services center. Slide that in there and build up on making it into a 24-hour. So that's where the haziness comes in, because since the contract wasn't fulfilled, they started blanketing you, and then here we are.
So forgetting that there was an original plan.
Yes,
The nonprofit.
that's right. And I have that RF.
Because that information would be valuable in the process of writing letters in support of the navigation center.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a solid
That's a
plan
building, right.
that was already established and was already approved.
Exactly.
So that's what, people need to see versus let's just support this. Let's support a plan that's going to really be sustainable.
Yes.
It's not like you're just pulling something together.
No.
So
That the city had already come out and asked people to
Right.
bid on. So it was something they already put out there, but just wasn't.
can you make that available to us? Or
Yes, I can send that the copy to, we're gonna get everyone's info and we can send that as something you guys can view. So any other questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, I have one more question. How long ago was this?
2014, but 2016 was when it was going to be implemented. We won in 2014, it took forever to get everything together in 2016, but we bought the property in Sacramento Street 2017.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
Yeah.
you want to share a little bit more about the faith-based community involvement and what that looks like and how we can pull this all together?
My name is E.K. Dawson. My name is Eric Dawson, but they call me E.K. E.K. stands for extremely cool. I serve in different capacities in the city and in ministry. My sinuses are doing a number. My voice is not normally this scratchy. I'm usually regular Barry White, but today it's doing a different kind of thing. The North Bay Ministers Union, which is pretty much Baptist ministers and non-denominational ministers, come together and they form a union. And they want to make their voice active. They represent a lot of churches within our city. There is no ecumenical group. That means Unitarian, Presbyterian, all the different faiths come together. Because if all the faiths come together, whether it's St. Basil, St. Catherine's, everybody of faith comes together, then what impact could we have in our city? Right? So that's one thing. Two, how can we, instead of 10 churches doing small efforts, 3 churches can do powerful efforts if they come together, or if they just come together by neighborhood or by geographic location. So what we're trying to do is cause different people and churches that have strengths in those, that have strengths, rooms and availability to come together, and then we can strike a mightier blow. We can strike a mightier blow for those people. Does that make sense? So our efforts are to come together on a lot of different levels, just to make more of an impact and make more of a stronger voice. And really, that's it. So we're trying to get people of faith, pastors, church leaders, different organizations to come together in an ecumenical group to just agree, how can we help our city? How can we feed? How can we clothe? How can we support? And when they come to our churches, so that we don't get pimped, right? Right. So that we'll go, so they won't go to 10 different churches. We can say, instead of them, we can navigate them towards resources, right? So they won't go to 10 different places instead of, and getting a little bit, we can navigate them to one place and they can get all of these resources that they need. Am I making sense?
Yes, you are.
Okay, and that's it.
Woo! Questions?
Mark.
So the question is, so churches have always been an integral part of communities and communities.
Absolutely.
Apart. How do you propose to, what am I trying to say? How do you how do you get all the silos? I call them, these churches are different silos. They affect whatever community or whatever religion they propose.
Right.
How do you get them? What's the plan to break those silos?
Do this. Do exactly this. Come together, get several of our different leaders, and have all of them pick a day, whether it be a Saturday, whether it be a pancake breakfast, whatever else. Get them together where all the minds or the workers come together, because maybe it might not be the pastor, but maybe it might be one of the associates, or it might just be a person in that congregation. Designated, united for one cause, and those people come together. Just that simple. Just do exactly what this group did. Identify who the movers and shakers. Pastor Danny Jefferson has a phrase that I love. He says, I want to move with the movers. I want to shake with the shakers. Right? So get all the movers and shakers that are interested in it or that will come and send somebody. As an example, you go to Faith Fellowship, I go to Friendship. Somebody else may go to Kyle's Temple. Somebody may go to Church of the Nazarene. Send the letter, send information out, get all those people and keep trying, and then get other people to make the calls, to make the connections, get them all together, and then just do this. And then put somebody like a Maria or like a Deidre or like some of these other wonderful voices in this room together so that they can realize what's going on. And then we start from there, and then that's when we start playing. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, please.
So I'm a former educator,
Very good.
and I believe in the power, and we're seeing currently the power that students have,
Yes.
and the passion that they have.
Absolutely.
What are your ideas about how to harness that, like at Jessie Bethel?
As an example, I didn't plant her in the audience, but that was a great question. As an example, we have an entity that everybody forgets about. It's called VCAT, right? Kids have all these different social media where they can do VCAT, and Jessie Bethel has a multimedia academy. They can use their voice and the power of that. Just imagine, just like when Obama ran for office, if they use their skills with technology and went and just articulated, got a young articulate person, and they articulate to the world via, the internet or via whatever, Facebook, whatever they apparatus they decide to use.
Dare we say tweets?
Or dare we say tweet or whatnot.
Not today.
All they got to do is, again, with some mentoring, with some coaching, and just get those same people to just do that. That's why I asked for what is a petition, because this could be a wonderful project, but we have to get rolling because they're out of school in 6 weeks.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Yes.
So I work at Franklin,
Yeah, of
and
course.
we have a few Manuel Temple,
Right.
Pastor Scott,
Yes.
Bridgeway have adopted
Scott
our school.
Nally, yes.
Is that something that is at every school? That they have churches within their community that have adopted their school. So our churches come and visit us, every month
Exactly.
to see what it is that they can do, how they can get involved, what we need help with.
Exactly, but it's identifying all that, you know what I mean, to get the support to the school and then making them aware. Because if there's a disparity that's going on, what happens is the average person may not know to what level the disparity is. So we have to put it in front of them so them to say, oh, and then it's up to you, and or you to choose that's what I identify with. Because if your passion is not there, the fuel may not be there. But in the broader we make people aware of it, then they will do exactly that. Any other questions? Thank you.
Just briefly, let me just piggyback on what EK said. There are a lot of people in this city that have a desire to make change. They are making changes. We just need to pull those people forward because they're just looking for somebody to partner with. I run into people all the time, so I don't want you guys to think that it ends here. There are people to support you on your mission, and whatever aspect you're doing this in, whether it's club.
Can I add something to what you're saying?
Absolutely.
As an example, as churches, we found out that kids during summer, it used to be when I was a kid, it was a good news club in our neighborhood. Actually, my lady's name was Miss Larson. And I lived on Vallejo Street, and we walked over to Miss Larson. And some of your faith-based churches or groups or youth groups, they have what's called Vacation Bible School. And it lasts for a week or 2 weeks or whatever else, right? What happened was the churches realized, we got all these kids out for summer. Why don't we just get on a postcard and start putting all the dates for all the churches so that we don't compete, but so that we can send these kids that are not doing anything and they can get some education, some fun, some arts and crafts, and put it out to the community. And then there's people that volunteer that want to do exactly what she's saying, but they don't know where it's going on, and they've got resources, volunteer, and wealth of experience that they want to lend to it, but they don't know what the cause is.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm one of those kids. I went to friendship, and my mother made sure that we were with other children, and we were safe. You know, and people from the community. I remember. I'm just digressing for a moment. Fillmore Graham made sure that we were exposed to things. My parents gave us exposure, and my community gave me exposure. And I think if we all come back to the table, this will be a better community. I said all that, and I want to introduce Mildred Gaines and her husband. You would like to speak?
Project Blessing Bags.
So, I'm Mildred, this is Craig. We are Project Blessing Bags. We've been in the community now as citizens for the last 5 years, and that's when Project Blessing Bags was actually birthed as well. All through my life, I've always found a way of giving back to the community, and when I came to Vallejo, one thing, actually when I was working in Vallejo with the schools, I realized that there was a lot of need. So you would see individuals out in the streets asking for help in one way or another. The way that I found best to help individuals was to hand them a non-perishable meal. I did not know when was the last time they ate. A lot of them were holding signs saying that all they wanted was a meal. So I started putting bags together that have non-perishable meals. It'll have fruit in it, or of course a cup of fruit. Anything that has a flip top that they can eat without it needing any cooking. It has water, some sweets. It also has, now it's grown to having notes from preschoolers here in town that'll write a nice carry notes and put notes in there. And then I would carry those bags around and hand them out as I saw fit or as I ran into individuals. Then it just was put on my heart to just continue doing this, but at a greater pace. My husband would attest to the fact that he would say, "You're going to put us in the poorhouse," because I would make so many of these bags, right? So I'm the giving kind. It's kind of like, you need a shirt, I would probably give you the shirt off my back, right? But I started putting bags together, and then there became too many bags for me to hand out on my own. So I took to social media, to Facebook here in Vallejo, and just started posting and said, you know, I'm going to be in the parking lot of Smart and Final. I have 100 blessing bags. Who would like to come and volunteer and help me hand these out? So I started meeting other individuals in town and started building up our volunteers. And now we have volunteers that go out throughout Vallejo. So when Ms. Deidre said no duplication, that was one of the things that I truly believed in. So I started looking at what was available in town. So we had Vallejo together doing certain things, but it was the daily meals that I wasn't seeing within our city. So, and I work for a living, so does my husband, although I'm a very good cook, I couldn't cook the meals every day. So this is the best that we could possibly put together. But now it's grown that we put out more than 2,500 bags a year, and those are just the meals. We put thank you. We also put out anywhere between 300 to 500 blessing bags, but these are the toiletry bags that also volunteers send out. The best part is that we get to collaborate with other organizations. So we work with Vallejo together with whatever they have going on as well. We supply the bags to the Navigation Center, and whenever Maria calls on us and says, you know, do you have bags? We're going to go do an outing to one of the encampments. The bags will go along with their volunteers. We partner with the schools as well to teach young people to do this, to have a heart for giving and loving on each other, and show them how to put the bags together. And of course we team up with preschools, having them write the notes, having their teachers tell them about our friends in need, and having them put the notes together so we can include them in our bags. In our bags is where we have the resource guide that Vallejo Together has put together, so everyone that receives a bag knows exactly where to go, what's available within town. And our volunteers, when I say they're through Vallejo, they're through Vallejo. I have individuals that'll call me and say, but you're going to Smart and Final on Sonoma, and I'm in Glen Cove, and I'm going, just make your way, you know. And sometimes I go out to Glen Cove to meet them, but it's just that idea of having individuals go throughout town on a daily basis. I love the fact that I do a lot of traveling, and Craig comes home and he's like, babe, somebody just dropped off this donation, it's at the door, and I don't know what to do with it. And so, and now we have volunteers that come to the house and makes the bag. So within 5 years, it has grown tremendously to the fact that this was just something that we were doing out of the kindness of our hearts to now becoming, we just submitted our nonprofit documentation, so shortly here will be nonprofit as well. And the hopes is to bring more funding, to apply for funding, bring it to Vallejo, as well as Solano County. I mean, we have volunteers now and we have donations coming in for Fairfield. So we have a group of volunteers that live in Fairfield that are collecting donations in Fairfield and making the bags for Fairfield. So I truly believe now we've been blessed and the community has embraced Project Blessing Bags. So all I have to do is say, hey, I need crackers. And someone on Facebook will come up and say, I'll have a case of crackers for you. Because they see the work going right back out to the community. But I can truly tell you, after looking around the room, we've had a lot of support from individuals in the room, but also from our community. And I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm really bad with names, but the gentleman they mentioned, or maybe it was Deidre, they mentioned people are out there that want to help and they're just looking for a way to connect. And some individuals just truly say, Mildred, I don't have time, but here's $20. How many bags can I get for that? And I said, I'm not selling the bags, but $20 will buy a case of Vienna sausages that can go into those bags, some tuna fish, whatever it takes, it'll go into those bags. So the idea is just to supplement what's already in the community, but to make sure that our friends in need have something to eat, have toiletry bags. I also failed to mention, we put together the backpacks for our friends in need in collaboration with Vallejo together. So every child that we come across that has a need receives a backpack, but not just an empty backpack, a backpack with supplies that they can barely carry. And just in case they have little ones, we even have little preschool backpacks for them so they can get started with schooling at home before they even get to school. As an educator myself, I make sure that happens. So every year we've been putting out anywhere between 45 to the largest year, I believe it was 72 backpacks in 1 year. And again, we do that in collaboration with individuals that are already in that are working in the streets. Maria, I remember one night she texted me and says, I need 4 backpacks, and it's like 11:30 at night, and I'm in my garage getting the backpacks, bringing them out to her, and Craig comes downstairs like, what are you doing? I'm like, we're delivering backpacks. You know, that's how committed we are to serving our community, and that's what relationships do, is that we can get more done if we work together. So I truly commend you, Deidre, for bringing us together, but also for saying no duplication, because I truly believe in not duplicating and wasting resources, because I think through duplication, we lose a lot of time and resources as well. Questions? Thank you.
Mildred, I just want to tell you that the piece of paper that's kind of going around on my notebook that I write everything in my life about, people drop things off on my porch too, so it's good to know that people let other people in the room know. And so when somebody calls and say, hey, do you know anybody that needs these socks?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you can make that phone call, make that connection.
And we do the same thing, because we end up with stuff that we don't use. Yeah. So it'll go to Vallejo together, it'll go to somebody else. We only keep what we can use. We have a gentleman that does hot lunches once a week, and we receive tuna that we cannot put in the bags because then we would have to buy a can opener for everyone.
Wow.
And we cannot afford that. So I met with him yesterday and I said, here's a few cases of tuna, and I know that he's put a recipe together for it. So it's a matter of collaborating and getting to know each other, but truly looking at what's already being done, so we're not duplicating that. So yeah, definitely. I always call around and say, who needs this and who's doing that, and this is why we're here.
I just want to add for my wife, and Barry, Blue Ross is going to speak now. So just a little bit for my wife, I just want to say thank you very much to all the players that have collaborated with us. We have a lot of key people in it, like Maria, Hakeem has done his thing as far as getting the word out on what we've done in the 5 years to grow so massively. I don't think my wife put enough on it in saying like first year 500, second year 1,500. So as a businessman, you don't double up like that, put triple, whatever. So that's coming from the community, getting them, like I said, I come home, there's a stack of Amazon boxes about that high. of the stuff that someone's ordered. We send us tuna, crackers, and we just go for it. And then being someone that's been a trainer, wife, teaching all our lives, have the kids there on the weekend, putting the bags together from various communities, schools, functions, clubs, or whatever they're doing, coming in there in the garage and focusing on something other than their phones. They're sitting there, wife's got them in line, military style, and they're just going down the assembly line and they can bang out 200 bags in a blink of an eye. I mean, really, we have it going, so it's a process. So I just want to thank everybody that's lended to that and recognize that, and we just gotta keep on stepping.
Sharon McGriff Payne, Woman of the Year.
Thank you, everyone. I was sitting there thinking, what could I talk about? But I'm going to just start by saying, first, it's wonderful to be here. I love this place. I love the fact that we have a new business here. I just was awarded, and I don't bring it up, I'm trying to be modest. I was named Woman of the Year for Solano County. I bring this up only because it was for my writing about African American history in this region. But I will always believe that it has a great deal to do with the fact that I started working with Vallejo together more than a year and a half ago. Just from working with Vallejo together, just some good things have just been coming into my life, and I appreciate Maria for pulling me into this. One of the things that I would like everyone here to really understand, I work every Tuesday as a navigator at the Vallejo Vallejo Together Support Services Center. And in the year and a half that I've worked here, this woman right here, Lucille Henderson, trained me when I first started. Maria trained me as well. I have actually seen our homeless problem become worse. And I'm not sure if our city is really recognizing how bad things are. I love all of you. I love the fact that you're all doing something, but our city needs to be doing some of the same things that we're doing. And I think as long as we're continuing to do it, they're almost like saying, oh, somebody's helping. We need the city to start stepping in and start recognizing. I would love to just hear them acknowledge the fact that we have a large and growing homeless population. They're not doing that right now. When was the last time any of you heard any of city council members talk about the homeless problems in our city? Have any of you heard it? Crickets. Yeah, crickets. One of the things that really troubles me that there have been about 8 people hit by cars over the last few months. Wow. I would say that probably half of those people are, Maria, you help me with this.
Yes.
About half of those people have probably been homeless people. And, you know, there needs to be some connection made with all of this. That we are increasingly having more and more issues about our homeless. I am seeing on our Tuesdays, I am seeing adult men come in sobbing, in tears. Their situations are so bad. I see women, older women. I grew up here in Vallejo. I have never seen our homeless problem this bad. We really do need to start pushing our city. We can do everything. We can volunteer and do all that we need to do. And that needs to always continue. But we need to start pushing our city more and more. Start recognizing. I want to hear them acknowledge that we have a growing homeless problem. They're not doing that right now. And the only way they're going to do it is with us pushing them to start acknowledging that we have a homeless problem. So I'm going to sit down because I'm going to sit down. But I do think that we really do need to start pushing our city to recognize our issues in this city.
we could be the better, we could be the wonderful city that I know we can be. But we first have to start being realistic. So
Thank you.
that's me for today.
I'd like to say something. Listen, I'm not a public speaker or anything like that, but I do know this, that homeless has been a problem for millennia, and it's not going away, it's only going to increase, right? So for me, the way I see this situation, there should be a path to improve self-sufficiency, or some resources, that type of thing. And I'm also a wild card. I'm just a guy, I'm a wild card. The way I see how change can be made, you have to have the people in place to affect policy, right? And how you affect that is when you vote for a person, you have to ensure that they also have the same mindset and same thought that you have about the homeless in the city. That's the only way that's going to change. Just like she mentioned, they're deaf to it. I don't even know if they're required to live in the city, because maybe they don't see it. But people don't want to see this problem because they know they are one check away. So they just prefer not to look at it. That's what I want to say.
Very true.
Victoria.
Hello, everybody. My name is Victoria Grace, and I have been working with Vallejo Together for probably about 6 or 7 years. Through Vallejo Together, really, they placed me, or rather encouraged me to apply for Vallejo City Unified School District. So currently I work as an academic support provider at Franklin Middle School.
Talk about your leadership.
Yeah, so I am responsible for several things. It's under Vallejo City Unified School District's Full Service Community Schools Initiative. And the theory behind that is our students come to school with a million different problems. A lot of them problems that you guys probably did not have to deal with as kids. I didn't even have to deal with as a kid. Things that their parents can barely deal with as adults. And so by having full service community where we address mental health issues, where we address basic needs issues, housing, food, clothing, things like that, we allow them to better be in the mindset to be open to education. And in that way, we can provide resources to not only our students, but the families and our communities as a whole. So I run a clothes closet in my school. We have snacks for them. We have toiletries. We're opening up Aaliyah's closets actually with different schools in Vallejo, elementary schools, high schools, middle schools. I run youth leadership team, a community collaborative team, which some of you are a part of. And we just look at what can we do for our students and our families. You know, how can we utilize the different resources, the amazing people and things that are already going on. You know, getting our students to do Project Lesson Bags. Hakeem Brown regularly volunteers with our young men's group. Things like that where we can reach the people that are movers and shakers of our community and inspire our youth to do more. You know, I'm a firm believer, true leaders don't create followers, they create more leaders. So on top of being working in the schools, I tend to try to bring students with me outside of school. A lot of times they don't really see what goes on outside of their community, outside of their block, outside of Vallejo. So opening up and exposing them to people like us in this room where we're out there looking for solutions rather than just complaining about problems, where we're creating plans and putting plans into action. That's what I try to do on a daily basis. So me being here, one of the things that we've worked with is helping the school district to recognize that there's a homeless population, and it's not your general, what people think of as crazy people or military vets, but there's also a child's face to homelessness. There's families, there's situations that come up and it's tomorrow you have to get out of your house and you don't have anywhere to stay. And this is not a choice for these people. So one thing that we did with the school district is try to get them to recognize that. We spoke at the school district meetings and got them to pass an initiative where they're making it a district priority to try to get better funding for these services, to try to get our housing, navigation center for our families. One thing we need to do is help parents actually identify. There's a bit of a stigma with identifying as homeless. So we want an accurate count. I believe the count was like 2-something, 300. But we know that's actually a higher number. there's a way higher number. So what I would love out of this is, collaboration. We want to collaborate. We want to be able to redistribute resources. And I have volunteers for you guys. I have kids that if we invest in them, they're going to turn around and invest back in our community. I'm one of those kids. I came through BCUSD, went off to college, realized I love Vallejo, moved back, and now I'm trying to just make it better and get other people to do it too. So that's right.
But Victoria, talk about your sponsorship need for the group.
So, some things within the school, we're always looking for sponsorship opportunities. Like I said, Hakeem works with our empowerment groups, and these are groups that we've grown from just seeing a need on our campus. There was a lot of fighting. Kids tend to not know how to communicate. I think the screens and being behind a phone all day, it's hurt us in our communication with others. So a lot of times they would just fight. And so our groups, we started with about 5 girls, have grown to probably about 100. The boys group, not long after, started with 50 kids because they saw the girls group flourishing, and now we're at about 100 with those too. And we do things like going over self-esteem, chivalry. Last time at our meeting yesterday, we went over different tools for them to use in the summer, mindfulness, journaling, stress balls, things like that. So another thing that we're always looking for is sponsorship opportunities. There's things that we want to provide for them. Food is among one of them. Thank you, Hakeem, because he's been sponsoring our food for a really long time. But we are always looking to have other support. Also, if your organization wants to get involved and wants to get our students involved, please come talk to me. We've had our girls do Project Blessing Bags, and she came and we had an assembly line, and they wrote their positive messages. And it was great because it gets our kids to feel like they're a part of their community. Teaches them to give back and care about others, and that's something that we need to instill in them. So if you know of people that would like to sponsor things, please let me know.
Come on down.
Come on, Maria.
Well, I'm a resource navigator for Vallejo Together at the Support Services Center, and I've been there for a little over 2 years now. And I started writing letters to the city, and started writing letters to the editor, talking about people I know who are living on the streets, the families, the women, the older, like the people I know. And I've tried getting meetings with the city manager, and I haven't been able, and he hasn't responded to those phone calls or emails. So, so one thing about the Sacramento Street Navigation Center is that getting letters written is really, really good, and getting more than just Maria's voice, getting more than just my voice, but getting different voices from different parts of the community will make a big difference. And let's see. So there's Maria.
Oh, can you just talk about what's lacking and like the Kaminar thing?
Oh,
About the county policy.
okay. So the county has designated Kaminar, which is a mental health organization in Vallejo, to be the point person for homeless services in Solano County. And
What is the name of it?
Kaminar? Yeah. And so they're supposed to be the number one-stop shop. So for months I had been calling, and because we have the flyer on the wall, it says, are you living in your car? Do you are you homeless? And then call if you need help. So I've been calling and didn't get any phone calls back. Finally, I get a phone call back, and and I'm talking with the woman, and she says, she says that she can't help the person that I'm asking about because he's not going to be homeless until May 12th, and so since that date, like since we haven't reached that date yet, then she can't help. And I said,
It is scheduled.
okay, I can't, okay. But then I said, but another woman who I just met with, she said that she was going to hear from you and she hasn't heard anything. And can you tell me more about, you know, what you're planning on doing for Lily? And she said, well, Lily didn't score high enough in our interview to qualify to get services. And I said, excuse me? And she said, well, you need to have, right now I'm only meeting with people who score 10 out of 10 on the algorithm, blah, blah, blah. And Lily only scored 3 out of 10, so there's nothing I can do. And I said, but according to the Solano County, you're serving everyone who's homeless. And Lily is living in her car. She is homeless. So the equation, the math doesn't add up. And I said, could you please send me the questions that you're asking so I can be clear about what information are you looking for that people are not, that she didn't qualify to get help. And she said, oh, I can't send that to you. That's not something I can release. And I said, well, gosh, well, you know, it seems like this is information that the county needs to have, that you're not able to serve, all of the people, that you're only meeting the 10 out of 10 group. Because the population, like we said, there's a huge number of homeless in Vallejo, and you're only meeting this tiny percentage. So that was my experience.
Wow.
With Camden.
You know, one of the things, Maura is our resource navigator. I think what we didn't talk about, and I failed to mention, what we do at the Support Services Center is we provide a place where people can wash their clothes, homeless people can wash their clothes and wash their bodies, and they can take showers. We are one center, and we could possibly use one of these centers in every part of Vallejo. We only have one right now. We are working 24 hours, not 24 hours, but every day of the week our center is open.
How many hours, may I ask?
It depends on what day. I work Monday on Tuesdays from 9 until 3. Some days it's from noon until
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
So that's why we also want the movement to move, because we're so limited in that church. We want to be able to serve 8 hours a day to begin with, and then go to 24 hours. People are homeless 24 hours a day. And if you want to expect them to walk from North Vallejo to downtown Vallejo at whatever time and meet your schedule, it's not going to work for a lot of different types of people. So, that basically the summary for the Kaminar thing for us is that Kaminar has been chosen to be the homeless one-stop shop. And unfortunately, we're supporting, of course, what they want to do. But now that there's a criteria to be really homeless. So our mothers that have a car, we're grateful they have a car with their kids. But guess what? If they have that car, they're no longer as homeless as they want it to be. They want you to be really on the street, in a tent, behind a bush, homeless, to be helped. But we have all these people who have pushed themselves up a little bit to have that car, pushed themselves up a little bit to live in a garage without any electricity. So we cannot rate our homeless people. We need to help them all on the different stages that they're in. So.
It doesn't make sense.
So let me kind of shift for a moment. Okay, when you want to come forward.
So you got to have a credit score so you don't I mean, you know.
Yes, I understood that.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Glad to be here. I'm also suffering from a little bit of allergies as PK, but glad to be here. It's an honor to be around so many people who are giving back to the community. Very humbling, because these are people I see in our community every day doing things. So it's an honor to be here.
So my name is Hakeem Brown, for those who don't know. I grew up here, went to school here, and I was also a beneficiary of a lot of the services and programs we had in the city. As EK was talking about, I went to the Friendship summer program. I was also part of the Boys Club. I spent every summer there. I remember Mr. Graham and Mr. Pelt Stewart patrolling the hallways. So I really have been a beneficiary of people giving back my entire life. And you know, you reach this point, I think, where you kind of, it's your movie. Like when you're growing up, it's all about you. And then when you reach a certain age, it's like, well, it's not just about me. What can I do to get involved? You know, and I felt like I've been very blessed to own a successful business. So what can I do to get involved? So the one thing I'll say about helping out is it's addictive. You know, once I started getting involved, it was like, well, what more can I do? What more can I do? This is pretty cool to see people who are being helped who really need it and money being used the right way. So that really, I think, has made a huge difference in my life, going from kind of it being about me to what can I do to give back. So that's where Neighborhood Riser really sprung from, was the fact that I would give to a lot of different organizations, and there were a lot of great organizations here in Vallejo, but they weren't, they were just all kind of everywhere, you know. So I said, why don't we get them all in one room, create a vehicle, and then put them in the community, you know, and so that the community can benefit from those things. And there's a bunch of organizations here who have participated, Mildred Gaines, PK, Vallejo Together. I mean, everyone has really been a part of this, so that's why we started Neighborhood Rising. And my fiance, Catherine, let's not forget about her. She's the director of Neighborhood Rising. And I think, so that was my focus. Her focus was, what can we do for the kids? She has worked with kids and with the youth for a very long time. So some of the things that we have brought to the community is Know Your Rights, Parent Institute for Quality Education, give away free books, free groceries, offer any services that we can to the community, jobs, things like that. And this, like I said, it's been very humbling to be able to do that. We do that monthly, if not quarterly. We're looking at what's the best time to do it to make sure that we're serving the community. And it has been good and bad. I mean, it's great to help out, but it's also hard to see people struggling. You know, it's hard to see people without groceries. It's hard to see kids without books, or you know, dealing with people dealing with issues. We know the justice system isn't always fair, and seeing people struggling to get their license just to get a job, or you know, the bills are piling up on your license, and now you have a warrant and things like that. So that's why I give back. I will say that for myself, it has been very interesting running for Vallejo City Council. It's a sacrifice of your time, but what I really love is the fact that, you know, the opportunity to make a difference, the opportunity to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. I think that matters. I think that we have a city where people tend to cater towards who's going to vote for me, or where the special interest groups are at, but who's speaking for the homeless, who's speaking for those who can't speak for themselves. So I think that for me, that has been something that has really motivated me to make a difference. I'll deal with whatever just to get to that position where I can make a difference, and that's what I really want to do. I have a very special feeling, affinity for what Vallejo Together does, and people who work with the homeless. A lot of people don't know, I've been homeless. I've lived out of my car. You know, it's not easy. All it takes is you lose your job, you know, and it's like a little yo-yo. If you don't have enough money to pay your bills, then all of a sudden you're in serious trouble. And I was blessed to come out of it, and blessed to be able to open up a business, but everyone isn't so blessed. It's only by the grace of God about here. It was nothing that I did special. You know, at the time I didn't know, but I just somehow came out of it. And so for me, it really matters, because I know that there's, like you were saying, people have this idea of a typical homeless person, but there is no typical homeless person. People, you never know what people will, you know, what situation people are in. So I think that is very important, that we do what we can to help those who cannot help themselves. You know, we were doing Neighborhood Rising, and we had it in North Vallejo. There was a woman who I knew who was she had a job, was doing very well. I actually wanted to hire her. And so someone said, hey, there's somebody living in the park. And I said, living in the park? Wait, this is North Vallejo, it's getting dark. I wouldn't want to be here. I went over there, this was the same woman that I knew. And she was living in the park by herself. And it was heartbreaking, to be honest with you, because this is someone who I knew was a very good person. I reached out to Maria, she did what she could, and it was not a perfect situation, but they need that help. You know, they need some place that really matters. I think that we need to see, like you said, the city can't just be a situation where they say, oh, well, someone else is doing it, so we don't need to focus on this.
I think we need to make sure to mention that Hakeem paid for her first 2 months of housing. We found housing for her, a room at Harvest House, and in partnership with him, we said, we need a sponsor, and he said, I'll do it. So he stepped out, we appreciate it.
Well, like I was saying, I think that for me, I would like to see more of a city partnership. I want to see people champion these things. It isn't about who are the voters, and let's champion where we can get the votes from, and where we get the next funds for the next campaign from. It's really about serving those that can't help themselves. Absolutely. And focusing on that. And that's something that I will do. I will be a champion for the homeless. I will be a champion for organizations here in Vallejo who are doing the community. So I do look forward to that. I thank you all for coming. Whatever we can do to help you, I will advocate. It matters to me. It really does. It really matters to me. So I'm glad to be here, and thank you everyone for coming.
So let me say this while we're waiting. I'm 55 years old. I grew up in South Vallejo on Winchester Street, where I live today, where my children were raised. My parents came to Vallejo in the late 50s. My father was the president of the NAACP. My mother was involved in school. She was involved in, what do they call it? I think they called it the truancies. Truancies are nothing like they are now, but they had truancies back then. And I watched my father and my mother work effortlessly, having people in our home and bring them about change in Vallejo, about policy, and even in the neighborhood in which we live right now, homes being built that were affordable back then, and that was in the 70s. So I think you kind of mentioned, we become what was familiar, so the change for me right now, my group is called Mom, and it was birthed out of me getting tired of watching people only give away turkeys at Christmas. Thanksgiving. Yeah, on TV. You don't help mankind by handing them a turkey for somebody who doesn't have a stove. I never understood that. I never got the concept. And then you have the audacity to get on TV and publicize it. That's even more ridiculous.
Explain what MOD stands for.
Yeah, what does MOD stand for?
MOD stands for Mothers Against Hunger. My husband and I have 5 children, and everything we do, I want it to be a lesson unto them. Nothing is promised. Nothing on this planet is promised, and it's going to take a community to wrap their arms around my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. I have a village around my parents, because that's what I grew up with. I don't know how many, can I get a show of hands how many people grew up here and had the village? The village was when you did something wrong, somebody told you. I want to go back to that. I want to go back to that. And collectively, we all need to support each other. I just wanted to get that out of the way. So that's what I bring to the table. I was tired of talking about it. I've had these micro conversations all over town, and I wanted to see who was going to show up and who wanted to get dirty. My feet are wet, and I'm hoping you guys will join us in getting your feet wet to get this thing done on Sacramento Street. And who knows what's next, but collectively we can do it, because our voice will be heard. Not one at a time, but again, collectively.
I wanted to add to what you say. I'm more or less taking the perspective from the homeless people I meet and some of their questions. And one of the big ones I could address to you, can we pick up the garbage that the homeless have? When we go through with Vallejo together, today was one of the days we were feeding them, and there's 2 cars that meet us, and we go in 2 cars to our friends, and we give them lunches that are given to us. 100 lunches we actually distribute throughout town. But I live in Venetian, and that would be, it's appalling that nobody picks up garbage in Vallejo. Right. It's an eyesore and makes people who don't care to help the homeless because they're dirty. And it's a bad taste. And can't we get the city to pick up their garbage? I mean, that's a big question. Why not? Why not?
I have an answer to that a little bit because we tried. So basically, the homeless, our friends, should pick up for themselves. So what we started to do was giving them the bags, right? Because the city right now is, they abate them. I don't know if you know C-Fix Click or whatever online. If there's enough clicks on a encampment, an area, there's a car in front of my house, they're living in there, the police come and they have to, that's part of the task force, right? Abatement. But what we need to partner with is to teach our friends to also clean up after themselves, but we need to provide the bags. We need to partner with like Recology and have, you know, the trash bags there. Because if you're homeless, you don't have a trash service like you and me do. They don't have a garbage can, they don't even have a restroom. So definitely great idea because that's what we've all been wanting to do because it's another strike against them to see them as dirty, to see them as not helping clean. But we really need to, I mean, we can ask Pippin, but we can definitely ask to see the viewpoint of it, but the city isn't just, they won't even recognize that they're there, let alone want to clean up after them, and the blame is going to be shifted.
This guy, he's got white garbage bags, and he's just making a collection.
Yeah, we can ask that part.
They cannot walk. No, some are living in the park, you know that. But and then they don't have money for gas. I wanted to bring one of my homeless friends with me tonight. Well, he wasn't in the car when I passed by. I told him I was going to be there. I would love to have brought him here to see.
What about portable toilets? Like I said, they didn't have portable toilets.
Well, that would be on other people's property, and I can see that might, and they're on the sidewalks living. You realize that. I mean, they're off Tennessee, where we provided in the container building. There's a container building there. We give 8 lunches every day, every Friday. And they live in there, in that container building. It's fenced off and everything, and that's where we give it. We give it to people who are living in campers, of course. Well, they don't have a problem if they have a bathroom. But right on the corner, this one guy's living, and he's got big garbage bags. How is he going to take that garbage and bring it somewhere? So then he lives there, he sleeps there, and I have no idea where he walks to. He doesn't have a car. How is he going to dispose of whatever garbage he's acquired? And then you see them with their wagons coming from stores, and they borrow the wagons and they put their household savings right in that basket, and they're really on Sonoma. You know it. They've got to have a way. And those people, because their garbage is done with them, they probably dispose of their garbage. But the wagon holds their life savings and they feel them. But the people who live on the street accumulate the garbage. And I can't see why when garbage trucks go by, they can't just pick up the homeless.
We can ask that. Why
Yeah,
not?
but that's getting back to what I had said. You have to get the city to first acknowledge that we have a problem. If they don't acknowledge it, they pretend it's not there, although the garbage is right in front of their face.
And then they
Then they can turn their back, and then they can say, and then when someone finally comes to them and says, like, we want this encampment gone, then they'll make it into a police action. That's what we're getting here in Vallejo, is first get the city to acknowledge that we have a homeless problem. And they don't acknowledge. And they don't, but that's up to us to push and go to the council and throwing it up to them that we have a terrible homeless problem here in Vallejo.
So and that's where the collectiveness of the church,
Exactly.
the community,
Exactly.
the petitions,
Exactly.
our face in front of their face.
Exactly.
Because when myself, I go out on Fridays and I also am a navigator. And what I see, and I'm also, if I may say, I come from San Francisco. So when I came here 20 years ago, the first 10 years, I didn't see any homelessness here in Vallejo. And I live in American Canyon, Napa, so I really didn't see any homelessness. But living in San Francisco, I was very, very aware of what was going on as far as the homeless population was concerned. So when I came here, when I did start seeing people standing on the medians in this middle of the street, it touched my heart. And I happened to be one day passing out food on my own. I also was a part of Friendship Missionary Baptist Church. We were, myself and another young lady, Gabrielle Brown, were doing part of the homelessness and feeding through the kitchen at Friendship. That was as much feeding as we were doing, but we were giving out boxes to the people who had a place to live and bring their food back home to eat. But then we started realizing that there are really people out here that are homeless. So as we continued to kind of look around, when I ran into Maria and her group, again, not wanting to repeat the action that Maria was already doing, I joined in with them 8 years ago. So in 8 years, we first started, when I started out with them, it was might have been maybe 35 people out there homeless. Now today, we did my side of Vallejo, we did 90 bags today, and then the other side of Vallejo did 50. So that's telling you that the population has grown. But again, it goes back to what Sharon is saying. Until the city council, San Francisco, they are aware of it. You were talking about having the potty park. They're all over the city of San Francisco. But the city acknowledges the fact that they do have a problem. Now, granted, it is the mecca of tourists, so of course they don't want to see the defecation on the streets. So, but once the people here in Vallejo, the city council and the mayor and however see that these are still people, they still do have to go to the bathroom. What are you going to do about it? And our facility can only house so many of them during the day. And now we're on a program where they have to have a schedule. Where before they were coming in, we were having sometimes 20, 25 people coming through. Now we're down to maybe 10. Because the way it's sitting.
Yeah, that's why we're trying to move to a place where we have the freedom to serve them as they are and as they come in.
And I say that in order to affect city council, I mean, all you guys are beautiful people and you go there, but the greatest impact should come from a homeless person that is in transition to go there to be the face of homelessness. I can't describe homelessness to anybody. The homeless can. And I think that's who should be positioned there to plead the case to the city so that they can see that there's a problem. Because we can talk about it all day, we're too clean.
Well, also, you got to have people say it too, like, you know, people have background checks. Because you have people in there, you don't know, somebody might flip out, you know what I'm saying, mentally ill, you know what I'm saying? 'Cause you don't know what might happen, so
that's
a big problem right there.
That's what I'm talking about.
Orlando, introduce yourself, please.
Oh, my name is Orlando. She
Come
works.
forward.
Oh, I'm embarrassed. She works with my kids. She works with my kids. I got 4 kids, 2 daughters, 2 boys. They're at the Christian Help Center because the lady decided to sell her house. They're at the homeless shelter on Sacramento Street. So basically, she's working with her case manager. See if they can get a place, but I don't know how long they're going to be there, but I'm in their life, so I'm just trying to be that.
Tell us about your struggle, because you're the
My
face
struggle
right
is,
now.
I was in a transitional house, and I messed up. I had my high school girlfriend,
Okay.
and but I got kicked out. I'm not going to go into the details, but
No.
they said I can go back there, but she's working with me. Hopefully I can get in a...
He's going to go to our men's home tonight.
Oh, wonderful.
It ain't about me, it's about, like you said, the kids, you know what I'm saying? The kids.
But how is it out there being somebody in need? What services are they lacking, or what are the doors that are being
I
shut?
see people, it's out there, no direction. You know, a lot of people out there on drugs. That's a big issue. I don't know. I haven't been homeless that long, just about 6 months. I don't like it.
Right. Now I think this is the new face of homelessness. People that are just recently removed from their homes because the house has been sold or they lost the job.
Right.
Not because it's a choice, because they use substance or say, I just want to, this is how I want to live my life. I think it's more of this than that. But those people tend to be the...
And also, because I just was going to say in regards to what the gentleman was saying right here, I worked all my life and I became disabled. And if my daughter had not moved into the house with me again, I would be pushing a shopping cart.
Right.
And so you just don't never know. You looking at people and you say, oh well, they look so good and they so clean,
right.
But you just don't know tomorrow
right.
if something was to happen to my daughter. That's the next step for me.
Right.
You know, so when we look at this gentleman, and even the people that come into the center with us, I have met some very nice people who really want to do better, but there's no hands up. There's nobody helping them to get to that spot. Or they look at them like Maura was saying, you don't meet the 10 criteria.
But this is the face and this is the voice that City Council needs to hear. As far as my opinion goes, they can listen to me all day. He has this experience. He can tell. He can explain to them what people need. You know. So.
I'm embarrassed. I'm sorry.
Pat, Ray, would like to speak. Well, we are new in this area and are not really involved, although we're volunteers for the food bank here in Vallejo. But we're from San Jose, and we ran a food program in San Jose for many years out of a church. And in San Jose, they have a plan. They have a 10-year plan, and they work on the plan. And all the groups that are helping the homeless are involved with one another, and they coordinate. And there's a lot of money there. So right now, a lot of exciting things are happening. Our housing's being built and that sort of thing. Hopefully, yeah. Here, I don't know so much, but when we moved here, we felt we were retired now, and we're completely out of the movement, so we don't know. Tonight has been wonderful for me to see all of you and what you say and what you do. I feel that you're so godly and so doing the work that we're called to do. We're here because I met Maria on the phone yesterday when I was desperate looking for a speaker on homelessness for my church. We're doing a year-long social justice program where once a month we have a speaker on a subject, and the whole community is invited, not just our church. Yeah, and then the last one in the series is on homelessness and affordable housing. I had a devil of a time finding anybody to say, yeah, I'll be a speaker. I know stuff. I called the city. I must have called in the last week or so. I must have called 20 agencies in Vallejo and around, and in the city housing. And I talked to all kinds of people who said, well, I don't know what's going on with other groups. It's just so hard for us to do what we do. We don't have time to connect with other groups. And the gal in the housing office I talked to, she sort of like put me off and didn't want to talk to me about what their plans are for housing for the homeless. So anyway, I'm sorry that things are not more organized here, and organization is something I find very exciting. So I might be able to help in some way in the future. But anyway, we're having this program on May 30th at Heritage Presbyterian Church in Benicia at 7 o'clock at night, and Maria's going to be our guest speaker. Awesome. And all of you would be invited to come. It would be so exciting. I think there's a lot of people in Benicia, anyway, who would like to be really helpful, don't know what to do, and there's not a lot of history of activism there. And so any of you who would like to come to this program, I'd love you to be there. That would be awesome.
Thank you. Francie. like to share anything?
Go, Francie.
I live in Benicia, I'll be there. I have taught school in Vallejo for 20 years. I retired a couple years ago after 35 years of teaching. And I've been on Maria's, kind of following Maria around for the last 2 years. That's the best way to put it, right? I've been following her for 2 years.
Maria's groupie.
I'm a groupie. I'm one of Maria's groupies. And so I have so many different thoughts, and I didn't have any verbal opinion for the first 6 months because you just have to take things in. But it's been over 2 years now. I've been working with Vallejo together. I grew up in Benicia. I taught here for 20 years, and I think I have 3 things to say. Number one is I'm going to kind of go around. There's 116,000 people in Vallejo, California. There's probably about 500 homeless people, maybe 600. About 300 of them are children who are at risk every day of being in a car or being homeless. A year ago in January, one of our little 9-year-olds who went to 4th grade at Lincoln School died because of living in a car with her dad. She got pneumonia. He waited too long to go to the doctor. 4th grader. Now, on top of all this, I taught in the Catholic school system for 35 years. So we did Christian service, and I taught social justice. So now I'm doing social justice. Okay, so that's one thing. Number two, no government can take care of what needs to be done. No government can take care of what needs to be done. It needs to be individuals and communities. It needs to be churches. It has always been churches. All churches. And it needs to be humanitarians, whether you believe in God or not. And I think what we're on the cusp of in this town is enlarging the community that is aware of the problem. I'm a little sympathetic with the politicians, but I'm also going to be gut-wrenchingly honest. I've been speaking to politicians on the city level and on the county level for 2 years. And I believe there are a lot of well-meaning people, and I want to say this without sounding condescending, but I don't know how to do that. Well-meaning people that aren't as intelligent as I thought they were. I know that sounds terrible. I am not the smartest or the sharpest tool in the shed, but I'm not stupid. And what happens when you look at homelessness, and there's so much that's involved in it, this is still number 2, but it takes a wider vision, not a myopic vision, not a just what do I need to do here and what I need to do now. And I think that's hard for politicians because they got to get businessmen to give them money to run for office. And businessmen and homelessness don't jive very well. And I come from a family, even though I was the teacher, do-gooder, of business people. So I think it's tough for the politicians. They usually have other jobs. They got to get money to run. And like in Vallejo, there's 500 or 600 homeless, but there's 116,000 people. We need new infrastructure. We need more cops. We need better schools. We need blah, 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 blah. And we got 600 people that need homes. And probably 250 of them don't want to be told what to do and have a schedule. So they need they need their sandwich every day. So, okay, that's number 2. So number 3, number 3 is for those of us who pray, we need to keep praying. And we need to be kind. And it is through individuals and communities seeking to be kind that the people that are mental or addicted, we get them their help. There is help there. We got to get the people to the service. It's very difficult going through the bureaucracy of city and county. It just is. And I work with veterans organizations too. And I said, okay, can you help? What can we do for you? I said, can you help pay this for $60? Well, here's the paperwork. We can only do 20, and we'll see you in 6 weeks. Well, see you later, veterans. I'm sorry. So be kind, pray, and be part of this conversation. I think that's 4 things. Okay, goodbye.
I came today, I'm sorry. I came today and we had a list that we made up in the car as we were distributing our lunches. So what we were doing, we were asking our friends what their needs were or what did they feel they needed. And quite frankly, they were criticizing the help that they're getting at the center that's on Sonoma Street. They're being placed in a position right now, and I feel I have to say something about what they were asking about. They have to make appointments now to come and take a shower, I understand.
They've always had to do that for 2 years.
Well, they're complaining about
But we used to have walk-ins, and now we don't.
oh, I see.
Yeah.
The walk-ins where they could get food.
Yeah, well, some of the people that we serve have to keep moving their cars. They live in cars.
Right.
And of course, they go there, and they were so happy that they could get their, use the computer and take showers and go for lunch. And actually would refuse our lunch because they were going to the center, and they had to move their cars. It was closer to the center. But they're telling me they also are, a lot of the people that are homeless have no ID, and they thought they could get some help in providing IDs.
We do that.
Well, I'm getting complaints about it.
So Ellie, the way to do that is to have them directly talk to us, because complaints have to be addressed directly, right?
We're talking to a few people. This isn't just one.
Well, if I could say something in regards to what Orlando was saying. I'm a woman who works in the navigation center, and it's basically women. I think we have 2 men that work, and we all come at different hours, you know, during the week. But generally it's 2 women together. So what has happened, and I'm thankful that they do have appointments, and they do connect with Maria because of the fact that if they have any kind of mental issue, which we have had some people that were coming in who have issues, and we're women, and there's only so much I can say or do to redirect this person out of the center or to calm them down to stay in the center. So what has been happening since I've been back this last 6 months, it has been much more calmer. A lot of the people that have come in, even with the mental issues, are calmer because you don't have all this commotion. So many people all around, people getting up, getting coffee, people want, we were like short order cooks there for a while. We were.
It's true.
We were jumping around, you know, we serve cup of noodles, we give protein bars, we trying to help with the washing, we've got to give them, now guess what we do? We give them the whole container of soap, make them feel more with dignity and respect. Right. Because before we used to have to pour a little bit inside of a little container and let them take it into the shower. But now, since they're only there by themselves, more or less, we can give them a whole container of conditioner and a whole container of body wash. And believe it or not, they bring it back. They don't use the whole container. You know, but we couldn't experience that before because it was too many people. And we couldn't, I don't want to say we didn't want to feel that we didn't trust them, but we didn't trust them because you guys are donating these bags to us. You people are donating the soap and everything to us. So we had to limit it to everyone. But now we don't have to do that because Maria does a, what is it you call and make sure that they're okay, they're clear, and they come in and we feel safe.
You have to have precautions.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I'm not really criticizing, but I'm saying.
Oh, that's okay.
It's what you hear.
I think that's valuable.
Well, I think it's, and I think it's wonderful that we have that center there for them. And as I say, some of them living in cars have moved, so they're closer. But of course, they're being
See, our goal is self-sufficiency with our friends. And self-sufficiency means making appointments, being responsible to go, because if they're not responsible to our appointments, they're not going to be responsible to go to a job or to a meeting or something else.
I agree with you.
Okay.
A lot of them don't even have IDs.
We help them with IDs. That's why I have them call.
They don't have to show ID. No.
And I'm just being the bearer of some of the.
Can I interject for a moment?
Yeah.
I just want to introduce everyone to Dolores Lavarra. Thank you for graciously having us.
Hi guys. So this is actually this is my son's cafe. So it's gonna be Glenn. Come on up, come on, Glenn.
Hey, Glenn. Woohoo!
So these are my kids. Well, our kids. Because my husband is not here, so I can claim it my kids, right? So Glenn is the owner of Cafe 22. And then this is my daughter, Denise. She is managing this one. And that's my son, Jaden. So he's helping them, and my son, Julian. So all of them are working together. Thank you too. And we own the H Lounge in Venetia Road. It's a bar, and then we own the Headliners. So if you need a haircut, go to Headliners. If you need a beer, go to H Lounge. Come here. So we have all the package deals. So, but again, thank you guys for coming and introducing you to our new sandwich place. And I hope you like it. So we want a feedback from you guys. If if you don't like it, you like it. So we will take that as a compliment. Okay. So we're open from Tuesday to Saturday from 11 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So this is gonna be our their fourth day, right?
Yes. Yeah. So our grand opening was last week on Saturday. We've been open about 4 days now. It's been a great turnout. Thank you guys for coming here. Hope you guys enjoyed our establishment. Hope you enjoyed our food.
Thank you for opening it. They're normally closed at 5, and because we asked them and we were like, we want to support you, want to be here. They opened specially for us, took their time off, and had this special event for us. So we appreciate it.
Thank
you. So the vegetarian dish was on here.
And if you guys ever wanted to have like an event like this again, of course you can always contact Maria. She has our numbers, and we would love for you guys to have something like this again. We don't mind at all opening after hours for you guys.
Yes, we do.
Do you have some flyers you could give us so we could pass them out to
Yes,
people?
definitely. Yeah, we have brochures. We have business cards as well. So that just gives you guys a line here. But like I said, Maria has our personal numbers that you guys can reach us on if you guys wanted to have something like this again. Because we're not here every single day. We can't guarantee you'll talk to us here on the phone. You'll most likely reach one of our staff.
Okay.
So yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
So I'm looking at the time, and I'm looking at what they've allowed us here this evening, and so I kind of want to wrap up anybody who didn't get to speak, and because I want to be respectful of leaving here, putting it back the way we found it.
We had a ball.
My name is Masai, and I do Masai's Weird Toy Drive. I help out the community and the homeless people. And I always do it on December, almost during Christmas, but I help out the children in need for, I donate toys to the kids in need, and also I help the homeless out almost every time of the week. Sometimes we go out sometimes, and when we see homeless, we always go out, we go in our trucks to get our food and give it to the homeless sometimes. And then I have been receiving 4 letters from President Obama when he was president. lot of people in my life that support me.
Thank you, everybody.
And he wouldn't be half the man he is without his mother.
My name is Michelle. Definitely an advocate for this child here because, we have to do that for our kids. I want to thank our friends and our family too that helped support him for his toy drive. He's been doing it 3 years. This will be our 4th year, and appreciate he's actually also partnered with KBLX with Armand Carr. He has All Tied Up, and then he's also partnered with CJ Anderson's his new foundation, Dreams Never Die. So he's still in the works of, he's trying to fill out where he can in his community. And so, with that said, we just want to say thank you to the community too, because it wouldn't happen. So thank you.
Outstanding.
All right, so I just want to recognize,
and we are part of Maria's followers too.
We're all one family, so we're just grateful for everyone here to be personally my sisters and brothers and, children. But I want to recognize Pippin Du. She's a current council member. Here she is. And I want to thank her for coming. And I just want to give a little bit of background on some support at least, because we've been talking about support from council. When we were doing 2014, was it 2014 June?
When she was born.
Yeah. So what happened was that we had to identify the program for 24-hour navigation center, as we talked about. So we reached out to every council member and said, do you have some time to go with us to San Francisco? Only one person responded, and it was her. And she was just born, and so she had to find a sitter, spent the whole day with us in San Francisco, I think 2 locations, looked at all the beds, and she's only one vote in that 5 or 7 people. And whenever we asked, like when we went up there to say we want a 24-hour navigation center, we need votes, she voted for it. When we asked about Sacramento Street, and we said we need to be a part of Sacramento Street conversation, as we've already discussed about putting our day services center there, she made sure she mentioned that yes, staff work with Vallejo together. So there are council people that are listening, but see, it's the bridge of the staff to do what it is. So I just want to say thank you. And thank you for being here tonight. And if there's anything you want to share, we will hear it. So
yeah, well, I really appreciate all of you guys. I mean, no excuses. I've heard loud and clear tonight. I've known for a long time now that the homeless issue is a huge issue, and the city is not doing enough. And we don't have the resources. Even if we spent our entire general fund trying to fix it, we wouldn't be able to fix it. It takes community partners like yourselves, and it takes a council that's willing to listen, and it takes city staff that is also working together with all of us to make it work. And we hired a new city manager. We had our goal setting last month, and at the end of the 2 days of talking about what our priorities were, he said, I need 6 months before you bring me anything new. Because we know, he said, I know that there are things broken within our city that I have to fix first before we can start working on new things. And so, that's where we are. So I'm here tonight because I want to hear. I don't see, you guys are on the front lines. You guys are seeing what's going on every single day, and I need to hear that so that I can take that back to the council and share that with them so that they understand what needs to be done and where we need to go from here. Man, it sure is inspiring to see young men like this. If we can really support all of our kids. Angelina, you remember when we took the toy and donated it? It was his idea. Well, did you know that?
You guys can help me out every time you want.
We will.
Every year.
And so, I appreciate all of you sharing everything tonight and being honest and really laying it out like it is. Don't pull punches. We need to hear it. We need to know what's really going on. Because we can't fix it if we don't know what the problem really is. So, I really, I'm also a big follower of Maria. When she tells me to be there, I'm there every single time. She tells me to help out with something, I help out. I met Maria actually through Leadership Vallejo. Joaquin is also an alumni of Leadership Vallejo. And, anything we can do to help out our fellow the individuals that have stepped forward and said, we love our city, we love Vallejo, we want to do whatever we can. We are doers, right? That's why we're all here, because we're doers. We see that there are things that need to be done, and we're not just going to sit there and complain about it. We're going to get in there and fix it. And so working together is the best way to make it work. So appreciate all you guys. Thank you.
Rose, we didn't hear from you. Is there anything you want to share before we?
I'm just one of those people you've been looking for, that I just am looking for ways to help. I retired 3-4 years ago. Oh, stand up, yes. And homelessness and feeding people, I think, are my two big important things that I see. Probably feeding people the most important. And so I just look for ways, and then I met Maria, and I started out, doing laundry at not the Navigation Center, but a smaller location. And there was a food pantry right there, and so when I didn't have any clients doing laundry, I crossed over and started dealing, with their food pantry, and I've just kept increasing my service there. And so I see making connections, organization is really important to me too. I'm trying to help Maria by staffing the Navigation Center with supplies and keeping them in my house and doing what I can. So, and I think that I think Deidre is absolutely right about everybody needs to find what their passions are and our strong suits and share those with others. And it's a real pleasure to do this with you all. Woohoo!
So, we're going to take some photos in a few minutes, but let me say this. And to you that work with the youth, the information that was gathered at the first meeting, the email addresses, the Facebook, the phone numbers, I still have that list. I just built upon that list tonight. The 8th grade students, leadership students at the Model Middle School will begin to create that plan. And I'd like to work with you to put that together because it's ever growing. And so we can take each section of town, go on our phones, and share that information. Okay, when you're hungry and they're giving out food, okay, go to this location. And this is the person you need to talk to. And that person's actually going to pick up the phone, and they're actually going to be there, and they're going to do what they said they're going to do. So we vetted the list, and we're going to continue to do that. But again, I have your number, and I was putting some things together, and so I'm really looking forward to that. So when you run into someone that needs something close for an interview or whatever, you can look on your phone and say, okay, this is where you can go. Another thing, I'm happy for the turnout today. I'm happy to see the new faces. We're going to take a group photo in a minute for all of you guys who want to be involved. And then we'll get back to you about how to get down to the city council to get our first voices heard. Okay? Okay?
Yeah. Yes, we will email out what you requested, the original plan for 24 hours and the journey. And just, if no one ever told you, you guys are the most important part of this piece. I know that I always hear like my name on it, but one person can't do it alone, and the reason why even I'm able to help is because you guys are able to help right side by side. There's no partner behind. We're all doing it We spend all our money, all our time, all our energy, whatever it is that you're doing is making such a difference because our friends need love. I mean, Orlando here, he needs the support that he needs. He's going to have housing. He's going to have a job here. He's going to have a job in another place. It's our community helping it. Each and every one of you, if you haven't been told, our friends are very grateful. They're living a day sooner, I mean a day more because of you. And this here, if we do it right, Sacramento Street is going to help everyone. Our mothers and children living in cars don't have to hide at Sutter Solano and getting kicked out of their security. Kaiser, Mi Pueblo, the parking lot. They don't have to, our women who don't have rights don't have to be accosted and asked to, you know, hey, I'll give you this if I can give you a ride. They don't have to do all of this if we can just come together and take that next step. We have the power in this room. We can do it. So we just want to thank you for that. Okay, so oh, Bill, look, Bill's been doing this whole time. And we want to thank him. He's such a community player. Thank you! Bill doesn't get paid. All he wants to do is show his talent. And his talent is documenting events and making sure that people know that Vallejo is beautiful. So make sure you thank him later. And we're going to take a group photo with everyone else. And let's do it. And good night. And good night. Good night.